What do you hear every time somebody's like, "Oh, hold on, I just need to process this"? And you yourself, have you said that also? What are you doing when you say something like that? You're saying, "Hold on, I'm going to shut this emotion off right now. I'm going to bring it to a different place, and I'm going to deal with it over there." And one of two things happens. One, most likely, you do nothing with it, and you just shove it off to the side to be processed later. Or two, maybe you do sit down and think about it, and you think about why you had this emotion, what could have been different, what could you have, done differently so that you could have avoided this. You think your way around this emotion. That is not processing. We use the word process way too much without understanding what it's supposed to mean when it comes to emotions and to big life experiences that create massive emotions inside of us. Processing emotions is about feeling them. And I know you can roll your eyes at that, but you're like, "Oh, feel your emotions." Like, duh. But when's the last time you intentionally, on purpose, visited the feeling of an emotion that you had somewhat recently and sat there and told yourself no stories about it, but just sat there, thought through the experience until the emotion became apparent in your body, and just leaned into the emotion, allowed yourself to feel it all the way through, let it run its course, no matter how long it takes you to sit there and feel this emotion? When was the last time that you did that? Because that is processing your emotions. Thinking about your emotions is a very clever way of telling yourself that you're too afraid to look at this or feel this emotion because you realize how uncomfortable it's probably going to feel, and that brings up even more emotions about what it might mean to be someone who feels such negative states, and that runs in every fucking direction. Feeling emotions. And it's easy to tell you to feel emotions and then just kind of leave you at that, which is what a lot of people do. But this is what you can actually do if you want to get inside of your emotions so that the fear of feeling them doesn't run you like it runs most people walking around today. This is what you can do. Whatever emotion it might be, whether you can figure out exactly what it is or not, use music. Music is an emotional language. Use music to bring about this thing in you. Let's say you feel, let's just say you feel really sad for whatever it is. You just feel really sad. Don't try to avoid it by listening to happy music to try to feel better. Go find the saddest music that you enjoy and sit there and listen to sad music and be sad. Be sad for as long as it takes, within realistic reason, but be there and be in that emotion. Feel the hair on your skin stand up. Feel the knot in your stomach. Feel the heartache, the constriction in your chest, and let it run through you in waves. Let yourself cry. Let yourself, shake your head and try to get out of it and then go back inside of it and really feel that emotion. Because an emotion is something that moves unless you block it. And which is what most people do when they process emotions and just think about them. They're actually putting a block and saying, this emotion cannot come through my body because I'm too afraid of feeling that feeling and trying to avoid telling myself the stories of what it might be or who I must be to be feeling this bad feeling. And so you block your body off. So the emotion wants to come through you, but it can't. So what does it do? It keeps returning. It keeps returning. And the more you block it, the more you have to create layered and layered stories to combat this emotion. And now you're guilty for not feeling this emotion. So now you have to deal with this guilt. And now you have to deal with this rage for feeling this guilt, for not feeling this sadness. It never ends. It will continue to repeat until you let it move through your body, because just like it wants to move, it doesn't stay in your body. It moves through your body, and it has to in order for it to be expressed fully, because I think that this is true. I think emotions have, almost like, I don't know, like a battery life, you could say. This is probably a bad analogy, but it has a certain amount of it, and it needs to be worked through. I don't know why. I don't know how to explain why, but this is my experience. I've noticed this in myself and many other people for a very long time. It spends enough time, and it needs to be moved through your entire being, and then it like reaches its like, its end, and it runs out of battery, and then it kind of goes away, and you're not stuck feeling sad the whole time. I mean, it might last a little bit. Like, it's not like sit down for 5 minutes and it goes away. Sometimes, but usually not. And so it goes away. And then, don't hold on to it. And that's the other big piece about processing emotions, is that people hold on to them. Maybe they do feel them, but they latch onto them. And I think it's because people are afraid to be dynamic and to change, because we want to identify with something. We want so strongly to say, this is who I am, because we don't know who we are. We want to say with the best certainty that we can, this is who I am, because we don't know. And so then, when you have this intense emotional experience, you don't want to let it go, because how could it be so that such a crazy thing happened and this is my entire world for a moment, and then now it's just gone. It's just gone, and then who am I now? It's the same question, who am I? You don't need to answer that question. You don't need to answer that question. You just need to be in the moment. Because to answer the question is to look back on the past and say, this is who I have been, and to project into the future, this is who I will be. That's not in the moment. In the moment is, you're sad right now. Later on, you're not sad anymore, and you don't need to hold on to that feeling. Because either people block them or people hold on to them. Sit there, use music, let it fucking run through you until it's gone, and don't hold on to it. And that is processing emotions. And it seems like it should be a natural part of growing up that you learn this. Unfortunately, nobody teaches us this stuff. You either have to be unfortunate like me and almost fucking kill yourself to go on this crazy road of 4-year recovery to learn this stuff yourself on your own in the midst of mass confusion and red herrings galore on the internet. And yeah, it sucks. Nobody teaches you this stuff. But this young generation is the generation that's going to bring this kind of stuff to the mainstream, to culture, to change culture, to be a culture like we used to be, or like cultures used to be, that understood emotions. And instead of projecting everything into the mind, we're a people that understand the emotional experience of being human and allow it to happen, encourage it to happen, because we know what happens when you discourage it.